Welcome, God's chosen ones. When all eyes are on you, it's not just because you stand out, it's because you are unforgettable. Have you ever walked into a room and felt the immediate shift in energy, like everyone turns their gaze toward you, even without a word spoken? It's as if you carry an invisible spotlight that draws people's attention and sparks curiosity. But here's the twist. You didn't ask for the attention, and you're certainly not seeking it. Yet, despite this, the room can't help but notice. That's the kind of energy the chosen ones radiate. And if that's you, you know exactly what I mean. Here's a fun fact. Studies show that people can sense confidence within seconds of meeting someone. But what we're talking about here goes far beyond confidence. This is the quiet, unshakable energy of someone who doesn't need validation or approval, yet somehow captivates everyone around them. It's mysterious, a little intimidating, and, if we're honest, slightly daunting. But why does this happen? Why are you the one who attracts attention, even without trying? Why does it feel like everyone is watching your every move, reading between your lines and waiting for, well, who knows what? Stick around, because we're about to unravel why all eyes are on you now and why it's practically guaranteed. And trust me, by the end, you'll find yourself laughing at the irony of it all. If you've felt this divine presence in your life, comment 77 below and let us know how it's showing up for you. And a huge thank you to those who have donated through Super Thanks. Your support makes all the difference as we continue this journey together. Let's dive in. God's chosen ones. They're 100% sure that you are chosen. Hence, all eyes are on you now. At number 1, you hold a profound mystery that leaves others endlessly fascinated, but never fully able to uncover who you truly are. You are the type of person whose very essence intrigues and confounds those around you. They think they're beginning to understand, catching glimpses of the deeper layers of your life. But just when they feel they have a handle on you, a new part of you emerges, a fresh aspect that shifts everything, and they find themselves starting over. It's like attempting to solve a puzzle that only becomes more complex as they try to fit more pieces together. This mystery is not something you consciously create. It's a natural part of your being. Your life doesn't revolve around hiding. It's simply that there's a depth to you that can't be neatly packaged or easily understood. In many ways, you resemble the biblical figures who were shrouded in mystery, yet carried out God's work with divine purpose. Take Moses, for instance. When he first encountered God at the burning bush, he couldn't comprehend the full scope of God's plan for him, and others struggled to understand his role in it. Even after leading the Israelites out of Egypt, Moses remained a figure that many could never fully grasp, constantly moving in obedience to God's will, revealing just enough of himself at the right moment. Similarly, your journey is not one that can be quickly deciphered, and those who try to define you often find themselves lost in your complexity. People around you may find this perplexing because they are used to individuals who are transparent, predictable, and easy to read. They've grown accustomed to knowing everything about everyone. But you don't show all your cards at once. You move in silence, allowing your actions to speak louder than your words. In a world that craves oversharing, your ability to remain reserved is not just rare, it's almost foreign. And yet it's this very trait that pulls them in deeper, keeping them wondering, what's next? The closer they get, the more they realize there's so much more to discover, layers they haven't even scratched the surface of. It's fascinating how they invest so much of their energy into solving the mystery of who you are, all while you remain completely unaware of their curiosity. You're not playing a game. You're simply living, focused on your purpose, your goals, or just your peace. You aren't concerned with being understood by everyone around you, And that's what makes you stand out. It's not about withholding, it's about living authentically. The truth is, this natural mystery around you keeps people coming back, even when they can't fully explain what draws them in. It's like reading a book that captivates your attention, but leaves you with questions long after you've turned the last page. This dynamic is not only a part of who you are, but a direct reflection of God's design for you. Think about Jesus, who spoke in parables, leaving listeners intrigued and sometimes confused, prompting them to seek deeper understanding. Just as Christ's teachings weren't always immediately clear, the mystery of your life leads others to seek clarity, drawing them closer to their own self-discovery. The unanswered questions they have about you will continue to linger, like a divine riddle they can't solve, but it will keep them captivated. Isn't it remarkable how something so natural, your presence and energy, can leave such an impression? How often do we see people who reveal themselves too easily, offering no space for mystery? But you've been chosen to stand as an enigma, one that God uses to draw others toward Him, even if they don't fully understand why they are drawn to you. Could it be that your life is meant to be a reflection of God's mystery and purpose, just as His plan for each of us is often greater than we can fully comprehend? At number 2, you unknowingly inspire a strange sense of competition in others, yet you remain completely unbothered. There's an inexplicable urge that rises within people to compete with you, as if defeating you would somehow elevate their own sense of self-worth. But here's the thing, they don't realize you're not even in the game. For you, success has never been about comparing yourself to anyone else. Your goals are deeply personal, driven by a purpose that transcends external expectations and rivals. You're not measuring your journey by anyone else's standards. This drives others crazy, because in a world where success is often defined by comparisons, your lack of interest in competition creates confusion. It's almost as if they expect you to rise to their challenge, to react to their need for validation through comparison. But you don't. You remain grounded, focused on your own path and purpose. Their attempts to assert their superiority, whether through flaunting their achievements or subtly trying to put you down, don't even faze you. You're too busy walking your own unique journey to be distracted by the noise of others. To you, what they're doing simply doesn't matter. You're not concerned with how they measure up. You're only concerned with how you're measuring up to your own goals. This lack of engagement throws people off because they've come to expect competition as part of the process. But you don't engage. In the Bible, we see the story of David, a young shepherd who, despite the pressure to compete with others, stayed true to his divine purpose. While King Saul and the Israelite army were focused on defeating the giant Goliath in battle, David, unbothered by the competition, simply stepped forward to fulfill his calling. He wasn't trying to prove anything to anyone. His success came from his deep connection with God and his commitment to his own path. David's story is a powerful reminder that true progress comes not from defeating others, but from growing in alignment with one's purpose. This peaceful, unshaken confidence you possess makes others question themselves, leaving them wondering why they feel so unsettled when you aren't participating in their race. They wanted to compete, to measure their worth by your reaction, but without your involvement, their victories feel meaningless. You're like a mountain that stands firm and unshaken, no matter how hard the winds blow against it. Your stillness, your calm presence, becomes intimidating, not because you're trying to outshine anyone, but because your strength lies in your indifference to competition. Think about Jesus, who faced many who tried to prove their superiority over him, yet he remained unaffected. He wasn't concerned with beating others. He was focused on fulfilling God's will. His assurance didn't come from competing with others. It came from being perfectly aligned with his divine purpose. And in doing so, he became a beacon of confidence that others could not replicate. His purpose was clear, and he was not distracted by the need for others' validation. This is the energy you give off. I'm not here to be better than you. I'm here to be better than who I was yesterday. And that, in itself, is what truly confounds others. It hits differently, and it leaves them grappling with their own insecurities. They may have thought they needed to beat you, but what they really craved was your respect and acknowledgement. When they didn't get it, they were left with hollow victories, unable to fill the emptiness with any amount of success. Why do we so often tie our value to being better than others? Could it be that true success comes not from competition, but from being at peace with our own growth and progress? At number 3, you possess a remarkable calm under pressure that others find almost otherworldly. When the world around you seems to fall apart, when chaos strikes and panic sets in, people typically react defensively, impulsively, or even succumb to stress. But you seem unaffected, exuding a tranquility that stands in stark contrast to the turmoil surrounding you. It's not that you are immune to stress, far from it. It's just that you process it differently. While others might spiral or lose control, you maintain a grounded, almost detached presence, as if you're observing the chaos from a step back. This allows you to respond thoughtfully, rather than react emotionally, making it seem as though you have a secret source of strength they can't quite grasp. This unshakable calm unnerves those around you because they are used to seeing cracks in others when things get tough. It's a natural human response to struggle, but with you, there's a resilience that appears unbreakable. Your ability to stay steady in the storm leads others to wonder what you know that they don't. They start questioning how you manage to keep everything together, how you remain calm when the world is shaking. Some may even start to feel vulnerable in your presence, sensing that their own anxieties and insecurities are more visible by comparison. Your strength magnifies their weaknesses, making them more aware of their own internal battles. This calm isn't just about your cool demeanor. It's a reflection of how you handle challenges. You don't view obstacles as roadblocks to your progress, but rather as natural parts of the journey. This perspective allows you to maintain balance, regardless of external circumstances. When others are consumed by the need to fix problems immediately or retreat into fear, you remain grounded, unwavering in your purpose. This creates an aura of strength that others can't help but notice. It's not just your calm that stands out, it's the way you face life with a sense of peace and assurance that others can't quite replicate. What they may not realize is that this level of composure wasn't always innate. It was forged through experience, hardship, and perhaps even a few battles that required you to find peace within yourself. Consider the story of Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane, where, on the brink of his most significant challenge, he was able to calmly submit to God's will, despite the immense pressure surrounding him. Jesus was not immune to fear or stress, but his response was anchored in trust and divine purpose. Like Jesus, you've learned that panicking never solves anything. True power lies in how you control your response to life's storms. This ability to stay composed, moving forward with grace, even when everything around you is falling apart, is something that others don't fully understand. It leaves them with a sense of awe and unease, as if they are in the presence of someone who knows something beyond the ordinary. And that sense of mystery, of quiet confidence, is what makes you unforgettable. They might not say it, but your calm presence leaves them questioning their own approach to adversity. What makes you so steady? What is it that gives you the strength to face trials without flinching? Could it be that your ability to maintain peace in chaos is a gift, one that others can learn to cultivate by shifting their focus away from the turmoil and toward trust in something greater than themselves. Next, at number 4, there's something powerful about your journey. People might not say it directly, but they're watching. They are waiting, almost hoping that you'll trip and fall. Why? Because when they see you move forward, relentlessly pushing through, breaking barriers, and achieving what others only dream of, it unsettles them. Your progress serves as a reflection of their own insecurities. It's easier for them to wish for your failure than to face the stagnation in their own lives. This is the reality you face, the whispers, the doubters, the quiet hopes that you won't succeed. But here's the thing, they're expecting you to fall, yet every time you face a setback, you rise again, and this time, higher than before. When you stumble, you don't stay down. For them, failure is final, but for you, it's just a stepping stone, a detour in your divine journey. This isn't a matter of luck or chance. It's the result of a deliberate choice to grow through adversity. A choice rooted in the deep understanding that setbacks are not the end, but part of your divine story. Each time you fall, you rise again, stronger, more resolute, and more focused. And every time you get back up, you leave the skeptics and the doubters wondering, how does this person do it? How are they able to stand tall again, stronger, wiser, and more determined? This is not just about personal strength. This is about God's favor and His guidance in your life. Just as we see in Proverbs 24:16. For, though the righteous fall 7 times, they rise again. Your rise isn't a coincidence. It's the grace of God moving through you, shaping you into someone who defies the odds. Each time you overcome, you become a testament to the power of resilience and divine purpose, a living example of how God's chosen ones do not fall, they rise. People will question why you succeed while they struggle, and in doing so, they'll face a mirror of their own reluctance to push forward. It's uncomfortable for them to confront their own hesitation, their own excuses. You are the reminder they need that failure is not what defines us. It's the strength to rise again, to push beyond the limits others set. Each time you rise, you chip away at their comfort zones, forcing them to ask themselves, should I be pushing harder? Is there more I could do? Just like David, who faced Goliath when everyone else was paralyzed by fear, you too have the courage to keep moving forward, even when the giants of doubt stand in your way. With every victory, you show those around you that God has chosen you, and His will for you is far beyond what they expect. They can watch, but they'll never fully understand the force behind your resilience, the divine strength that keeps you going. And with every rise, they will be forced to confront their own limitations, pushing them, even if they never say it out loud, to ask themselves, am I truly living out the potential that God has for me? The world may be waiting for you to slip, but you know that your steps are ordered by God. You are His chosen, and no matter how many times you fall, He will always lift you higher. Number 5, your aura demands respect, not attention. Your presence alone speaks volumes. It's not about the words you say or the noise you make. It's the undeniable aura you carry, the quiet strength that demands respect without even asking for it. While many people chase after attention, constantly seeking validation and the spotlight, you don't need to perform to be noticed. Instead, you walk in a power that doesn't seek approval, yet somehow it commands attention effortlessly. People can feel it, even if they can't quite put their finger on it. There's something about you that sets you apart from the crowd, something that draws others to you without you lifting a finger. This difference between seeking attention and commanding respect is profound, yet subtle. Attention seekers need constant reactions to fuel their sense of worth. They thrive on being seen, and for them, external validation is their lifeblood. But you, as one of God's chosen, are different. Your energy is grounded, steady, and self-contained. You don't chase after people's approval, and because of this, they instinctively give it to you. It's as though they sense a divine strength in you, a quality that sets you apart from the typical pursuit of fame and recognition. And that's the beauty of your aura. It's not about impressing others, but about standing firm in who you are and what God has called you to be. Think about Esther in the Bible. She didn't need to parade her beauty or flaunt her status to gain favor. When the time came for her to speak, her mere presence before the king commanded respect. The same is true for you. You don't need to prove anything because people are drawn to the authenticity that radiates from you. And as they come into your space, they don't just reflect on you, they reflect on themselves. The confidence you exude forces them to question their own motivations. Are they chasing after the wrong things? Are they seeking validation from the wrong places? Your quiet strength makes them uncomfortable with their own insecurities, and in a world that's obsessed with being seen, it's refreshing and a bit intimidating to come across someone who doesn't need to try. This kind of presence, this authority that doesn't rely on words, is what makes you unforgettable. It's not exaggerated, nor is it forced. It's real. And while others may seek the spotlight, you shine in the background, letting God's favor work through you in ways they can't understand. The way you carry yourself, rooted in your faith, becomes a mirror to those around you. As Psalm 23:1 reminds us, "The Lord is my shepherd, I lack nothing." Your quiet confidence comes from the knowledge that God has already placed you where you need to be, no validation required. And that is what makes your aura magnetic. The people around you may not even know why, but they sense it. Does it make them uneasy? Perhaps. But more importantly, it challenges them. Your life, the way you walk with God, is a living testimony that greatness doesn't come from shouting or chasing. It comes from knowing who you are in Christ. When you walk in that divine assurance, others are drawn to you, even if they don't understand why. Number 6, your very presence has the power to expose the masks that people wear, the facades they've carefully constructed to shield their vulnerabilities. It's not that you set out to uncover these pretenses. It's that your authenticity is so undeniable that it makes it nearly impossible for others to keep up appearances around you. While most people move through life, hiding behind their carefully curated images, whether to blend in, avoid judgment, or protect their inner fears, you bring something completely different. Your genuineness, your rawness, has a way of peeling back the layers that others have spent years perfecting, exposing what's underneath. You're not looking for flaws, and you're certainly not judging, but when you step into a room, people can't help but feel that you see them, not just for the outward persona they project, but for the person they really are underneath it all. There's something about your presence that calls out the superficial. You see beyond the small talk, the bravado, the endless need for validation. Around you, people find it harder to pretend. The act they've put on so carefully, whether it's their charm, their confidence, or their smile, loses its power in your presence. Suddenly, they're faced with a choice. They can either drop the mask and show who they really are, or they can feel uncomfortable, unsettled, and exposed by your genuine, unwavering gaze. It's not a confrontation, it's simply a reflection of the authenticity you carry. Psalm 139:23-24 says, "Search me, O God, and know my heart. Test me and know my anxious thoughts. See if there is any offensive way in me, and lead me in the way everlasting." In a similar way, you bring people face to face with their own insecurities, not by pushing them, but by simply being true to yourself. You mirror back the authenticity they've been missing, causing them to reflect on their own masks and wonder, why am I hiding? What am I so afraid of? Some people are drawn to this transparency, seeking a connection that doesn't require them to wear a facade. They crave the real, unfiltered truth that you bring into every encounter, but others may feel vulnerable, even defensive, because they realize that they can't keep up the illusion they've relied on with others. It's uncomfortable for them because they've spent so much energy protecting themselves, building walls to shield their true selves from being seen. And now, with you, those walls don't stand as firm. But this is where the transformation happens. You don't judge them for hiding. Rather, you create a space where they're invited to let go of the act and just be real. Just as Jesus saw through the layers of the Pharisees and called them to repentance, you too offer an opportunity for people to see the truth of who they are. You don't force this change, but your presence alone challenges them to face themselves and reconsider the masks they wear. For better or worse, they feel exposed. With you, there's no need to pretend. You offer them something better, the chance to step into their own authenticity. This, though, can be a challenging experience for some. To be truly seen, without the layers of protection, forces them to confront who they are, flaws and all. It's an invitation, sometimes uncomfortable, but always liberating, to drop the act and embrace the truth. When you do this, you don't just reveal their pretenses. You offer them the freedom to be who they truly are, just as God created them to be. At number 7, you hold a powerful ability to walk away from control attempts, leaving those who try to manipulate you feeling utterly powerless. When someone attempts to control or manipulate you, they're expecting a reaction, defensiveness, resistance, or a fight. But instead of giving them what they want, you respond with calm detachment. You're not interested in getting drawn into a power struggle or proving a point. When someone pushes you into a corner, instead of negotiating or arguing, you simply choose to leave. Your exit is not a retreat. It's a silent but profound declaration of your independence. This behavior disarms people completely. They're used to others playing along with their games, even if it's just to resist or push back. But with you, that doesn't happen. You don't give them the satisfaction of even engaging in their manipulative tactics. By walking away, you make it clear that no one has the power to force you to stay in a situation where you feel disrespected or controlled. You don't need to argue or confront them. Your decision to leave is the ultimate power move. It sends a strong message without you needing to say a word. You are here by choice, not by force. The moment someone oversteps your boundaries, you're gone. This is especially unsettling for people who thrive on control. They're accustomed to people trying to earn their approval, or at the very least, engaging in a battle for dominance. But you're not part of that game. You value your peace far more than playing into someone else's need for power. The instant they try to hold you captive, whether through guilt, pressure, or manipulation, you simply slip away, leaving them grasping for control that's no longer there. It's like trying to hold water in your hands. The tighter they squeeze, the more it slips through their fingers. What they fail to understand is that your power lies not in the fight, but in your ability to walk away with grace. You've mastered the art of knowing when a situation isn't serving you, and you won't hesitate to leave it behind. This freedom, this ability to preserve your peace by choosing not to engage in games of manipulation, is rare. It's one of the things that sets you apart from the crowd. Others may try to control, but you've made it clear that their tactics won't work on you. In fact, the more they try to hold on to you, the more they risk losing you completely. This quiet strength is similar to the way Jesus responded to his accusers. When he was unjustly tried, he didn't engage in their manipulative schemes or try to defend himself in the way they expected. Jesus knew his purpose, and when it was time to speak, he did so with authority. When it was time to remain silent, he did so with strength. His calm, deliberate silence in the face of accusations left those around him confused and powerless. Jesus didn't fight for control. He walked the path of peace, remaining faithful to his mission, knowing that no manipulation could shake his sense of purpose. Your ability to walk away from control attempts speaks volumes about your inner strength. It's a reminder that true power doesn't come from fighting to win. It comes from knowing when to step away, when to protect your peace, and when to choose yourself over someone else's need to dominate. Have you ever felt the urge to stay in a situation because you wanted to prove a point? What would it look like to step back instead, and in doing so, regain your own sense of power? Number 8. You embody strength and vulnerability, making you unpredictable. There's something captivating about your energy. You're not easily categorized. You embody both strength and vulnerability, creating a presence that is both inviting and impenetrable. People can feel this unique combination, a balance that draws them in but also keeps them at arm's length. You're not an open book, yet you're not a closed one either. You show just enough of yourself to make others feel safe, yet you withhold enough to keep them intrigued and cautious. In one moment, you might be deeply understanding and empathetic, ready to listen and offer comfort. But in the next, you become unwavering, firm in your boundaries, and unafraid to assert your needs or beliefs. This combination of tenderness and strength is rare, and it creates an unpredictability that people don't know how to navigate. They're used to people being one-dimensional, either strong and unapproachable, or kind and yielding. But you defy these simple categories, showing that true depth is found in complexity. This is what makes you so powerful. You've learned that true resilience doesn't come from being unbreakable. It comes from knowing when to be vulnerable and when to protect yourself. This is what sets you apart. It's not a weakness to show your true self. It's a strength to be vulnerable on your terms when you choose. In this way, you teach others that being strong doesn't mean shutting others out or suppressing emotion. It means embracing your authentic self in all its complexity without fear. As 2 Corinthians 12:9 says, "But he said to me, 'My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. Therefore, I will boast all the more gladly of my weaknesses, so that the power of Christ may rest upon me.'" Your vulnerability is not a sign of weakness, but a testament to the power of embracing both your strengths and your imperfections. People can't predict you, and that's what keeps them guessing. They can sense your depth, yet they often don't know when they'll encounter your open side or your unyielding resolve. It's this unpredictability that makes you a force to be reckoned with. They may try to manipulate or control you, but every time they think they understand you, you reveal a side they didn't expect. This is the essence of true strength, being able to face the challenges that come your way, knowing that while you may bend, you will never break. Your inner strength comes from your ability to stand firm in your beliefs and protect your peace without losing the kindness and compassion that makes you who you are. It's this duality, this balance of openness and self-containment that fascinates people. They know your kindness has limits and that your openness is profound but not infinite. It's not a mystery you've intentionally created, but rather the natural consequence of understanding who you are. You've mastered the art of protecting your energy while also giving generously of your love and compassion. Your presence, therefore, forces others to reflect on their own boundaries and self-awareness. As the Proverbs 4:23 teaches, "Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it." You know how to protect your heart while still sharing it with those who deserve it. This is what throws people off. They don't know how to approach someone who is both strong and vulnerable, someone who has the wisdom to know when to protect and when to give. It's an enigma to them, and it's what makes you so captivating. People are left intrigued, curious, and sometimes unsure of how to navigate their relationship with you, because they sense that you know yourself in a way that most people don't. And that's what keeps them coming back, always wondering what side of you they'll encounter next. At number 9, you stand out as an anomaly in a world that thrives on validation. In a culture where likes, compliments, and constant affirmation are the currency that most people trade in, you are someone who remains untouched by these external markers of approval. While others relentlessly seek validation, whether it's from social media, their peers, or even family, you stand firm in your own self-worth. You don't need anyone's approval to feel secure in who you are, and this independence often baffles those around you. To them, validation is everything. It's how they measure their worth, but with you, it simply doesn't hold the same weight. Your lack of reliance on external validation is like a puzzle they can't solve, leaving them bewildered as they try to understand why their opinions, which matter so much to them, don't influence you. This kind of confidence doesn't come from seeking recognition. It is built on an internal foundation, one that you've spent time cultivating. Your assurance comes from an inner knowing, a deep belief in your value that isn't swayed by the fluctuating tides of approval or disapproval from others. To most people, this concept is foreign. They are so accustomed to measuring their worth through the validation of others that someone like you, who remains steady, regardless of outside opinions, is a mystery. It's unsettling for them because it forces them to confront a truth they don't fully understand. True confidence doesn't come from the approval of others, but from self-assurance that is rooted in something much deeper. People can feel this difference, and it unnerves them. They might try to bait you into seeking validation, testing your reactions to see if they can get you to crave their approval. But no matter what they do, you simply remain unbothered. You're not interested in playing their game of seeking external validation. You don't need their praise to feel complete or their criticism to feel defeated. Your sense of worth is anchored in something far more enduring than the fleeting approval of others. This quality, your ability to stand firm in your own value without needing external validation, makes you both magnetic and mystifying. People are naturally drawn to you because they sense a confidence that they can't easily replicate. But what makes you even more intriguing is that they can't quite figure out how you do it. You don't play by the same rules. They are used to the dance of seeking validation, but you've mastered the art of self-validation. This mastery makes you free, untouchable, in a way that many can't comprehend. Your refusal to participate in the validation game forces others to confront their own insecurities, making them wonder, how does she do it? What is it about her that makes her so unaffected by the need for approval? Your indifference to external praise and criticism is powerful. It's the same kind of strength we see in biblical figures like Job, who, despite losing everything, never wavered in his faith and belief in his own worth before God. Job's story illustrates the difference between seeking validation from the world around us and finding our worth in something far deeper, our relationship with God. Job didn't need the validation of his friends or the approval of society. He knew his true worth came from God, and that was enough. You too have learned this powerful truth. You don't need anyone's validation to know who you are and to be secure in your purpose. This self-assurance is what makes you stand out in a world that often measures worth by external approval. It's the very thing that makes you magnetic because deep down, people are drawn to the kind of inner peace and strength that you possess. They want to know, how can I be like that? How can I cultivate the same confidence that comes from within? Isn't it incredible how much power we give away when we rely on the validation of others? What would it look like to stand firm in your own self-worth, just as Job did? Could it be that your true strength lies in learning to validate yourself, regardless of the world's approval or disapproval? Number 10. They can't read you, and it bothers them. You don't wear your heart on your sleeve, and you don't spill your thoughts for anyone to dissect. While most people quickly reveal parts of themselves to establish familiarity, you operate differently. You keep a lot hidden, and that creates an air of mystery that others can't quite figure out. They're used to sizing people up, drawing conclusions, and feeling in control of the interactions. But with you, they're left with more questions than answers, and that bothers them. It's not that you're intentionally trying to be elusive. It's just that you value your privacy, your autonomy, and your internal world. You know that not everything needs to be shared, and you understand the power of maintaining some mystery. You don't need to offer up pieces of yourself for others to feel comfortable or validated. You choose when and what to reveal, and that control you have over your personal narrative makes others uneasy. They might try to read you, study your reactions, look for clues in your behavior, but they come up short. There's a depth to you that they can't access easily, and it leaves them off balance. They can't predict what you'll do or say, which makes them second-guess themselves. This unpredictability throws them off, making them feel like they're constantly trying to catch up to you. What they don't realize is that your silence isn't weakness, it's power. You don't need to lay your cards on the table to assert your presence, and the fact that they can't figure you out, that's exactly what keeps them intrigued, yet frustrated. Your ability to keep some parts of yourself a mystery leaves them feeling unsure, and that's the last thing they expect from someone so self-assured. Number 11. They sense the depth of your purpose because here's an undeniable energy that surrounds you, something people can feel the moment they interact with you. It's not something you have to announce, and it's not about what you say. It's in the way you carry yourself, in the quiet certainty of your actions, and in the way you move through life with intention. People can sense that you're driven by something greater than just the daily grind. You're not here to simply pass time or follow the crowd. There's a deeper purpose guiding you, and that purpose radiates from you in a way that is both captivating and unsettling. For most, life is a series of reactions, a dance to meet expectations and survive another day. But with you, it's clear that your path is different. You're not just responding to the world, you're moving in alignment with something much bigger, and that scares people, even if they don't fully understand why. It's intimidating to be in the presence of someone who isn't just floating through existence, but actively creating, shaping and moving towards something with purpose and direction. This energy doesn't need words to be felt. People around you can't help but notice that you're on a higher frequency. You're not chasing approval or fitting into predefined roles. Instead, you're focused on something that pulls you forward, something they can't quite touch or fully comprehend. It leaves them curious, wanting to know more, but it also shakes them, making them realize they're not even on the same level. And that realization, knowing they're not part of your journey, can be both intriguing and unsettling at the same time. They sense that you're not just here to exist, you're here to evolve, to grow, and to fulfill a purpose that is far greater than most can even begin to imagine. And number 12, your presence challenges their own identity. Your mere presence disrupts the status quo in ways people aren't prepared for. It's not something you do intentionally, but it's an undeniable effect you have on those around you. Simply by existing in the same space, you force people to confront parts of themselves they'd rather ignore. When others interact with you, they can't hide behind their facades or mask their insecurities. They see themselves reflected in you, and it's impossible to look away. You become a mirror to them, showing not only their strengths, but also their vulnerabilities, things they might have worked hard to bury. This reflection can trigger different responses in people. For some, it creates discomfort because they're faced with aspects of themselves they've been avoiding. The truth you reflect back to them is unsettling, and they can't escape the reality of who they are when they're near you. Others may feel admiration for your ability to stand strong in your authenticity, recognizing in you a quality they wish they possessed, but can't quite tap into themselves. And then there are those who feel envy, threatened by the clarity and certainty you radiate because it highlights their own confusion or lack of direction. What makes you so powerful is that you don't need to say a word. You don't need to teach a lesson or point out flaws. Your very presence, your ability to simply be yourself, forces people to question the mask they wear and the identities they've built around fear or external validation. And while that might make them uncomfortable, it also sparks a deep need to reevaluate who they are. In that sense, you're not just walking through life. You're sparking transformation in the people around you, whether they like it or not. In the end, being a chosen one is not about seeking the applause or attention of the masses. It's about the quiet, yet powerful influence your existence has on the world around you. Your presence alone challenges others to face truths they may not be ready for. You don't need external validation because your worth is deeply rooted in something far greater than the approval of others. You walk through life with unshakable purpose, and that creates unease in those who are still lost in their search for meaning. You aren't here to blend in. You're here to stand as a mirror to the world, forcing others to question their own sense of self, their boundaries and their purpose. This makes you both magnetic and intimidating. You don't try to seek attention, yet you draw people's gaze, and that draws out both admiration and envy. Regardless of how others react, the truth is, they cannot ignore the force you represent. You don't conform to the expectations set by others. You forge your own path, one that embodies strength, authenticity, and a deep commitment to something higher. This is your purpose, and it will always stand as a beacon for those who are ready to listen. To those watching from the sidelines, trying to figure out your every move, keep watching. With every step you take, every choice you make, you become more of the person they cannot quite understand, yet desperately need. That mystery, that sense of purpose, and that unshakable confidence are the true hallmarks of a chosen one. If you feel connected to this message, I invite you to support the channel by using the Super Thanks feature. Your support, whether big or small, allows us to keep creating content that motivates and empowers. If you're enjoying this content, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so we can reach even more people. And most importantly, feel free to leave a comment. Your thoughts and experiences are a blessing to us. Thank you for being part of this journey, and may God bless you with continued strength, peace, and clarity. Your light is needed in this world.